You ever have that feeling where you're, doing all the adult things, but you're still kind of waiting for it to feel real? Like, when does it actually kick in? Well, you are definitely not alone. And that's what we're going to dig into today. Why that old school finish line for adulthood just seems to be getting further and further out of reach.
All right, so let's just get right into it. The law says you're an adult at 18, right? That's the magic number. But does it feel like it? Does our actual lived experience match that legal line in the sand? I mean, it's a question that a whole lot of us are asking now because that gap, the one between being legally an adult and actually feeling like an independent one, well, it seems to be getting wider every year.
So what gives? What happened to that clear, straightforward path that maybe our parents or grandparents had? It feels like all those traditional signs of being a grown-up, they've just kind of crumbled, leaving a lot of us feeling, a little bit lost. I mean, just look at this comparison. It's pretty stark, right? The old checklist was so simple, so linear. You finish school, you get married, you buy a house, you lock down a career. Boom, done. But today, phew, every single one of those steps is either pushed way back, totally out of reach financially, or honestly, just doesn't even make sense for a lot of people's lives anymore.
And this feeling, this sense of being stuck in the middle, you got all the responsibilities of an adult, but you're not getting that big societal thumbs up that you've made it. Well, there's actually a name for that. It perfectly captures this modern experience of being caught between stages.
It's called perpetual liminality. Kind of sounds academic, but it just means being in a permanent in-between state. You're definitely not a kid anymore, but all those classic symbols of adulthood, the house with the white picket fence, the 40-year career, they feel like something out of an old movie. So you're just permanently in transition. And let's be real, that can be super frustrating.
Okay, so how did we even get here? Is this something we're all doing wrong individually? Or are there some much bigger forces at play? Let's unpack the external pressures that have totally redrawn the map for what it means to grow up.
When you really boil it down, this isn't about a lack of hustle or discipline. It's about economics, pure and simple. Think about it. You're trying to start your life, but you're saddled with insane amounts of student debt. Meanwhile, wages haven't really budged, and the cost of, well, everything has just skyrocketed. Suddenly, hitting those old milestones has less to do with how hard you work and everything to do with trying to survive a really, really tough economic game.
And this quote, this just hits the nail on the head. It takes all the blame off of your personal discipline and puts the spotlight right where it belongs, on these massive macroeconomic forces. It's such a powerful way of thinking about it. If you feel like you're constantly struggling to catch up, it's probably because the rules of the game have completely changed.
All right, so if that old checklist is basically useless now, we need a new one, right? So instead of just dwelling on the problem, let's switch gears and talk about the solution. It is absolutely time to stop measuring ourselves with an old broken ruler and start figuring out what maturity looks like for us on our own terms. And that really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? If buying a house or climbing the corporate ladder for 30 years isn't the benchmark anymore, then what is? What does it actually mean to be a mature, well-adjusted person in the world we live in today?
Well, here's the big idea. The new definition of adult has nothing to do with what you own or what your job title says. It's all about who you are on the inside. It's about building that internal strength, that resilience you need to navigate a world that is just way, way less predictable than it used to be.
Okay, that sounds great in theory, but what does it actually look like? Let's get practical. Here is a new framework for what maturity can be, a totally different set of milestones that you can actually work on, no matter what your bank account looks like.
So forget the house and the marriage for a second. Let's focus on these 3 pillars instead. See, these aren't things you can go out and buy. They're qualities you have to build from the inside out. And they point to a much deeper, way more meaningful kind of maturity.
First up, we've got emotional competence. This is huge. It's basically the ability to handle your complex emotions, to actually sit with the tough feelings instead of just running away from them. It's understanding that it's okay, actually it's strong, to be vulnerable. Learning to process challenges in a healthy way, honestly, that is a real superpower in today's world.
All right, next up is internal strength. This is all about learning to tune out all that noise from the outside world. The constant pressure to compare yourself to others and compete. Instead, you focus inward. You figure out what genuinely gives you a sense of peace and stability. It's about building a kind of resilience that doesn't need a single like or comment from anyone else to keep you going.
And number 3, financial honesty. This is a game changer. Instead of putting on a show and pretending we have it all figured out,
Real maturity is about being open and honest about money. We're actually seeing this a lot more with younger generations. They're way more transparent about their financial struggles, and it's just so much healthier than pretending you're a success when you're secretly stressed out.
So when it all comes down to it, this is the key takeaway. Adulthood isn't some final destination you arrive at. It's not a switch that suddenly flips when you get a diploma or a mortgage. It's a process. It's a commitment you make to yourself to just keep learning, keep reflecting, and keep growing.
So I want to leave you with this one last question to think about. Are you just waiting around for adulthood to happen to you, or are you actively defining it for yourself? It's so easy to get stuck waiting for some outside thing to make you feel official. But the real power? That comes when you stop waiting and start building your own definition of what it means to be an adult, based on who you are right now and who you're working to become.